name is Beth, and I'm back today to do another live recording for you guys here on YouTube. I decided to record another video because today the light is beautiful again, and it's beautiful fall weather, and I was like, okay, I'm just gonna do another reading. So I did a post-lunar eclipse reading over on Instagram and wanted to do another one because I didn't really even bring up the passing of Matthew Perry in my other reading. And I really wanted to say a couple of words here about that because I feel like it's really important to address some of the things that it kind of heralds. And essentially, for those of you who don't know, Matthew Perry was a very well-known actor for his work, over 200 episodes of the TV show Friends. And I normally don't even talk about celebrities in any of my videos. Like sometimes it'll come up and I'll quote from somebody, but today I was like, I really wanted to talk about that and talk about him because I feel like it's kind of like art imitating or like like if there's movies that come out, it symbolizes things in culture. It symbolizes where we're at in the collective. And the fact that he was a very well-known actor for his work on a TV show called Friends, which is all about friendship and relationships. And it had a huge cultural impact. I mean, there's just so many people and like that really felt his loss, the loss, of him. And I felt it. And I feel like other people will feel it later in time if they don't feel it now, because he was such a iconic figure for his work and for what he was doing. And he took a lot of strides to kind of break the mold as far as his memoir. And I think that, I wanted to dedicate this video to him and the work that he did and the impact it had on so many people. And it's going to make me really emotional because I feel like he had such an impact on so many people. And it's kind of like the Robin Williams equivalent, Robin Williams also was a very well-known actor. And, when he passed, it had a huge impact on everybody and everybody felt it. And it's different than if it's, somebody that's not as widely known or not, their work is not as widely known. And so I feel like it's really important for me to, dedicate this reading to Matthew Perry and to remind everybody that that relationships are really important, that our friendships are really important, and, that people are important. And I said a little prayer after I found out he had passed. And I sent him off with some energy of peace and love and joy, because I know that there's a lot of people out there that are going to send him off with energies of judgment, questioning, all about how he passed and all that stuff and his history, without actually really giving him credit for all the work that he actually did and for all the laughs he actually made people laugh, and for all the, all the joy that he brought to so many people's lives. And I think that is what this tribute is about. And I want to preface this reading by saying that I am very much going to be looking for the things in this reading that are going to bring people the most joy and the most peace. And I really think that in our culture, there is going to be in some way a kind of movement towards, focusing more on our friendships, focusing more on our relationships, focusing more on what brings us joy and what brings us happiness, what we can do for other people without judgment, what we can do for just our neighbors, our friends without judgment, and how we are going to break the mold in the future of culture and the way things are right now. And so I really hope that people that are watching this at some point take a minute to rewatch some of the Friends episodes that are, online everywhere, and take a moment to say some words of gratitude and thanks and send Matthew Perry off with some peace, and send him some peace and send him some joy rather than judgment, because that's what I'd like to see for him. And I'd honestly like to see that for everybody else in our culture as well. So I do want to check my audio. I forgot to check it really quickly. Hang on just a minute. And it's so interesting. I have to say that it's so interesting that we, the last couple of days, I felt very heavy. Like I felt extreme, emotions, and a lot of people were feeling that as well. Just a lot of emotion, a lot of things happening because of the eclipse. And I just feel like, I don't know, I feel like the impact of all of that, I think that Matthew Perry passing had something to do with it. I also think that at this time, it's a sign. It's like a sign that we need to pay attention to these things that he discussed, these things he brought awareness to. Without awareness of things, we're not able to grow or to focus on them. And I think that his work brought attention to things and focus on things, which is important, and it's going to be important later in time. So yeah, I'm going to lay out a spread and see what we get. I know I'm already crying, and it's ridiculous that I'm already crying, but obviously this, video is special, because like I said, there's just a lot of things that are going on right now with everybody. And I feel like there's a lot of emotion that I think everybody's going to have to process. Interesting. I want to talk about this card first, but I actually forgot to talk about my normal spiel. I have to say it just because I say it every time. I am still offering private readings for those of you who have not booked. You can visit my website, oracledaphne.com. All viewers of my readings, especially my live recordings, are required to send donations as a reciprocation for the work that I'm doing. I'm asking people to do that, even though YouTube's a free platform, and even though I do not have my videos monetized, which is not by my choice. It's YouTube that's preventing that from happening. I'm asking that, everyone to please donate. Donations of, 25 or more absolutely can be applied to any future readings. $100 buys you, it's a buy one, get one free. So you can gift somebody a 30-minute reading, a free 30-minute reading. You can use the reading for yourself, or you can gift two people 2 30-minute readings. So essentially I'm doing that right now, but I'm asking everybody to donate as an offer for reciprocity and out of respect for all of the work that I've done. I'm reminding everybody that I have 1,400 videos on my channel, and there's not going to be videos that are going to be applicable to everyone. But this is timeless. This is for all signs. And again, this is a tribute dedicated, or reading dedicated to Matthew Perry. And interestingly enough, the first card that's coming out here the only card in the whole spread that's actually in reverse is the Devil. And you could see that was the card that came out in reverse. And the Devil in reverse is breaking free. Is breaking free from anything that binds you. This, for some, is actually overcoming any kind of addictions, overcoming vices, even if it's just food, or even if it's sugar, or even if it's you might not even think about it as an addiction. You might think of it as a bad habit. This could be vaping, smoking. This could be anything to do with habits that are not really as healthy. This could be also breaking free from a relationship that's no longer working, or yeah, to me, this is like has some element of freedom to it, which is interesting because obviously Matthew Perry, had, addiction problem. And so I feel like some of you are going to be really examining your vices, but also breaking free from any negativity, anything that's really held you back, anything that's sort of just like, has had some kind of power over you. And the thing about people is that we don't realize what really is like holding us down until we just before we break free of it. Because just before we break free of it, the light comes in and shows us, okay, we've got a problem with this, or we got a problem with that, or we have a problem here. And it's just like, oh, we have to do something about it. Because once the light comes in and shines a light, you can't just not do anything about it. I do feel like I think for some people, they stay for a very long time in a sense of denial. Denial, even if the light comes in and is like, and they know they have a problem and they know that they need to do something about it and they know things are really bad. A lot of times people go on for a really long time doing, they're creatures of habit, essentially doing the same thing over again, letting letting their issue control them. I definitely feel like anybody that's had any kind of control or power over you, whether it's here on this planet or actually in spirit, I feel like you're going to be breaking away from that. And to me, this is like the most beautiful energy of this whole reading. To me, that's what this whole reading's about. And it's actually quite awesome because, to me, this is unexpected. Like, I wasn't expected to see this. I wasn't expecting to see, okay, like, you're going to be breaking free from the devil today. You're going to be like, F you, goodbye. You might hit the road on something. You might be like, I'm peacing out, goodbye on someone or someone. Anybody who thought they had control over you, anybody who you gave your power away to, is like, this is where you take your power back and you go. I definitely feel like there is a lot of sadness here about a situation which was controlling you, or about a problem that you had that was in some way controlling you. For some of you, was like a relationship to a partner. Like, they had the power and it was up to them to make the decisions. And like, they were wearing the pants and you had been drained of that's what the devil, drained of your autonomy, your respectability for yourself. To me, this is where you get your self-respect back. This is where you're like, bitch, I'm not tolerating this today. Bye-bye. That's kind of how, I see it. And, we have the Lovers here. It's very fascinating. We have the Lovers here. And the Lovers, to me, is absolutely a relationship. And like, some of you want a relationship, but you're not willing to become like enslaved to the devil for it. Some of you in some way, like, there's this push-pull between your freedom or wanting your freedom and wanting to have a commitment, like wanting to have a relationship. And I feel like you might be dealing with a person who doesn't want commitment, but like at the same time has feelings for you. Or you might be dealing with, you having feelings for someone who doesn't want commitment and just wants their freedom at all costs. That's what I'm seeing. I also feel like there's this push-pull between you staying married to someone who was taking your power away. That they weren't good for you. This could also be someone, like, let's just say that you're involved with, that you were involved in, or that you are going to be involved in. Some way, somehow. So it's sort of like the light going on about, let's just say you were involved in third party situation with a, person who's married, or you were involved in a boyfriend girlfriend situation with a person who had a boyfriend or girlfriend. Like, this is like you being like, yeah, no, I'm not going to be involved anymore in that. Some of you still, I feel like you're going to still kind of want to, even though you've said goodbye, or even though like you've pieced out. This reading, I wanted this reading to have an energy of peace, an energy of love. And the energy of peace that's going to come for you is where you leave a situation in which you are not feeling empowered by. Where somebody you've given up their control, you've given up your, whatever it is that you call yours, For some of you, it's your time, your efforts, your focus has been going into a person in which maybe they haven't reciprocated. Or maybe it's been going into a person in which they feel like, they're in their arrogance, they're in their greed, they're in their stubbornness. But the beauty about this card, and the beauty about this this kind of overcoming this devil, is that, and with this eclipse, I tell you, I'm starting to really enjoy this eclipse energy, because I feel like this is where the universe does budge the beings that are stuck. Things start to move forward, things start to become unstuck, things start to become, okay, we have to do something. Things can't stay the way it is, and it needs to change. I definitely feel like you're overcoming someone, and I feel like it's a female energy that was very manipulative, or a female energy that was very toxic, or female energy that was very narcissistic. I feel like some of you are doing that. I also feel like for some of you, what's going to bring you the most peace is realizing your self-worth, and realizing your self-respect, and realizing that you have more power than the devil thinks you do. And that's how you outsmart the devil. Because the devil thinks, here's the thing about the devil. The devil thinks that, they have your heart, and they're like, haha, they don't have a heart anymore, and they can't function, and that they've got power over you, and they've got, all the control and whatever, but actually they don't, because and you're chained up, but actually you've got the key. The devil hid the key in plain sight. And once you realize that key, you already have that key, and you could have left at any time, and that you could leave at any time, and that you can get up and walk out, and that you can get up and walk away, and you can get up and say, you know what, I'm done with this shit. Anybody who decides that they're like, okay, we're done with the devil, quitting whatever bad habit, quitting whatever situation is no longer serving, breaking free, you're able to immediately take your heart back. Like, the devil doesn't own you. There is no ownership. It's an illusion. The devil says you're owned by this. This is you being owned by me. That's like the devil. Okay. But you're not actually, like, it's all illusion. It's all like BS. Okay. And I feel like for some of you, you're not going to be putting up with the BS any longer. You're going to be like, I'm done with the BS. I also feel like, again, the devil thinks, okay, so two things that, I equate for the devil energy. One is greed, but I also equate ignorance and arrogance as evil. And to me, the devil is evil. Okay. So ignorance and arrogance. So ignorance and arrogance go together, where somebody doesn't really know, or somebody pretends to know. Arrogance is where, you know, I always use this example, using all kinds of crazy weed killer that's going to kill all the fish in the river as soon as it drains off the land. Okay, that's arrogance. Okay, thinking that, oh, the river is just going to miraculously bounce back and nobody's going to get sick. That's arrogance. Ignorance is where nobody taught you what was evil, where nobody taught you what was right and wrong, where nobody said what was right and wrong, where nobody said, like, this is wrong, what you're doing. And here's the thing, everybody gets to this point where they're like, you know what? I'm done with your SHIT. And I'm done with your greed, and I'm done with your ignorance, and I'm done with your arrogance. And somebody actually starts to take an action step. And the beauty of the devil in reverse is where an action step is taken. And the ties that bind you are no more. So, this could play out in like so many different ways. But to me, it's the most beautiful part of this reading, because honestly, no matter how much it upsets you, you've taken an action step, or someone in your life is taking an action step. You might actually be assisting somebody to take an action step, but I feel like this is you. Taking an action step and being like, you know what? I'm done with this shit. And, again, anything that has bound you, this could be a romantic partnership. This could be a parental partnership, or a parental relationship, rather. This could be a friend. This could be, again, something that has kind of taunted you and haunted you. And here's the thing, the devil does not care how wrong they are. That's arrogance. Because again, nobody's taught them what the right thing to do is. Nobody said what the right thing to do is. To me, this has a very, and I hate to say this, but like, I always say this, the people, there's a lot of hypocrisy in religion. Okay. I don't even like to go here, but I'm going to go here for just 1 second. There's a lot of hypocrisy because the people that go to church are there to be preached to by people that are basically teaching them how to be a better human being. And in the past 6 months, I've come across people who are not good human beings. And people that are very much needing to go sit somewhere and have somebody explain it to them of how to be a better human. How not to be in judgment, how not to be in greed, how not to be ignorant of things and arrogant of things, and how not to treat others with certain level of disrespect, or how not to take advantage of other people, or how not to just have a lot of hypocrisy. And the biggest hypocrisy issue I have right now, and I'm just going to say this because we're talking about the devil here. The biggest hypocrisy issues I have is that the people that are, let's just say, doing really great are the people that want something for free. They still want more. And they could help others, but they're not. And they could do more for this planet, but they're not. And that is what the awakening is here. That is what the tribute to Matthew Perry is all about here. It's all about how, and I saw all of these things online, okay? I saw all of this stuff online about how these people were saying all this stuff about him and his history. And they were not talking about what he actually did, the work that he actually did, and the joy that he brought to the planet. They were sitting in judgment. And in some way, they were still taking from him. Like, he had so much to give. Like, he gave so much, but it wasn't enough. And to me, that's greed. it wasn't enough where people actually realized who he was. So, I just feel like I'm reading for people that to me, it's what's coming here is like a kind of a moment in time where the light goes on. The light goes on, and either somebody's gonna awaken you, or some situation is gonna awaken you. And that light is going to go on. That light bulb's going to go on. That sunshine's going to go on in your head. And I'm not saying this because, I plan to say this here today. It just, honestly, I started to record and I was like, okay, I want to make sure that I'm mentioning Matthew Perry because it is a huge deal in our culture. And for a soul like that to no longer be with us. To me, he was a light worker. To me, he was a person to be respected. Because he really, and it's really hard. Okay, I have to say from personal experience, it's really hard to go that personal with people who see you in a certain way, who see you as that person on Friends, that character permanently. Like they won't see you as a real person who has real problems, who has real issues. And I have to say from this reading, because I'm talking about this, there's an element of realness here, of real life here, of being like, yeah, this is real life. This is what's happened. It happens in real life. And I have to say this, you find out who your friends are when life gets real. You find out who's rooting for you and who wants you to fail when life gets real. And to me, the devil represents in some way a failure. And I think I forget his name. Oh my gosh, now I can't think of his name. I'll put it in the comments when I think of him, but he was on Game of Thrones and another great actor. And he talked about failure and how he quote unquote failed many times. And other people have said that when you fail, quote unquote, it's actually a beautiful thing. It really is. I think, the devil to me, it teaches us humility. When we fail, when we succumb or we face our shadow, we succumb to a situation where, we go through stuff, all kinds of devil stuff, anything to do, again, with addictions, with hardship, with pain, suffering, sorrow, loss. To me, this is all devil. The devil inflicts pain. The devil loves power. The devil will inflict pain just because it's feeding off of it. The devil doesn't care about you. The devil cares about himself. The devil cares about what's going on only with himself, and nobody else. And the devil wants you to fail. But in the reverse position, this is where you've quote unquote failed, but then realized that you haven't really, quote unquote, failed. You are still a success no matter what. And you're going to take your power and you're going to pack your bags and you're going to do whatever you want to do and go on and live a beautiful life because you've learned, from humiliation comes all these beautiful things. The more you're humiliated in life, the more you become an amazingly strong human being and you become an amazingly compassionate human being and you have so much to offer because you've been through a time of crap. In order to get to the devil in reverse, you've had to go through stuff. You've had to learn humiliation. You've had to be humbled by life. And you've had to face life as it is, with all its bullshit. And you've had to see who's in your corner and who's not. And there might not be that many in your corner right now. And that's okay. Because what happens is, when you get stuck with the devil, everybody kind of, you're isolated. The devil loves isolation. I talked about this in my Instagram reading, about how this is any kind of isolation is again manufactured. I use that word manufactured over my Instagram thing, but I don't care. Again, devil energy is manufactured. It's a manufactured isolation. It's where somebody uses that as a tactic to make you feel like you don't have power, to make you feel like you don't have friends, to make you feel like you're alone in the world. And it absolutely is not true. Absolutely is not true. But we can feel alone in the world. We can feel like we don't have friends. We can feel we don't have anybody there. And again, the tribute is to Matthew Perry, who was known for his work on Friends. And that show really talked about the ins and outs of friendship. And in order to get to this, you've had to, again, really think about who are your friends. Who are the people that love you? Who are the people who are sticking with you through thick and thin? And you might not have any. You might have a few. You might have one. But, the whole thing is it doesn't matter, okay, if you only have one friend. Because to me, this is something where, I say to some people, they have to help themselves. And by helping themselves, they can leave a situation in which is binding them, which is making them stuck, which is trapping them. Or they can relieve relationships which make them feel like they're stuck, that make them feel like they're bound, that make them feel like there's no out. I'm going to pull some other cards just to see what I get here. Interesting. I'm going to say that with all of these cards here down later in time, again, these are future energies, so they may not have come to pass yet. I see you moving on from a situation. I see you moving on, or somebody moving on from you. Maybe it's a relationship that you've outgrown or a relationship that you've had for a while. It doesn't matter. I feel like you're going to move on from it. They're going to move on. If you ever ask me if there's a person that you're thinking of, have they moved on? I feel like they might not have moved on yet, but I feel like they're going to move on in the future. And by what does it mean move on? It just means that they're no longer going to be in contact. They're no longer going to talk to you. They're no longer going to be, on your social media. They're no longer going to be around. Interesting. I never noticed this before. Okay, so this is really bizarre that I'm seeing this here. Okay, so with this Knight of Pentacles, you can see he's riding on this giant worm creature. And I never noticed that there's this pentacle that's kind of tied to the worm creature. And in my mind, it's sort of that's all he's got. He doesn't have a lot, but he has this one pentacle. And maybe it's his whole life savings or whatever he has to carry in his back. He might only have really enough to fit into a couple of bags. He might not have very much. And so you might, pack up your things and go. But you also don't need a lot in order to leave or in order to go. And this might actually be, let's just say, someone who was to say, make you an offer. And I feel like it's sort of like the element of, should I take the offer or not? And I feel like you're going to take the offer. And I feel like it's like take the money and run, meaning you're going to take whatever is offered and you're going to be like, okay, I'm done. and you're going to take that with you. And it might not be a lot to other people. It might not, but it might be a lot to you. And I feel like you're going to take that with you. You're going to do something with it. Some of you, you might buy a new car with it. Some of you, you might buy something pretty with it. I'm seeing these little jewels here. You might buy some new, I want to say, I don't know, you might even get like a tattoo. I'm seeing like a couple of tattoos. I feel like specifically the tattoos might be about somebody that you lost. So like a grandparent, maybe their names, or maybe some kind of imagery that represents them. I'm also seeing like you giving them the finger, like you being like, peace out, goodbye. And then like you take whatever their offer is and you give them the finger. You might say something at the very end, like afterwards. That's just basically the equivalent, of being like F you, kind of. Doesn't need to be those words, but I feel like someone might be saying that. I definitely feel like somebody is going to help you, and you are being very helped out by some elementals. And I'm also seeing like you have either you're going to have a really good car at the end of all of this, or you do have a really good car, or you have a really good friend that's going to help you with all of this. And it's sort of like you have a lot of people watching you. You might have a, social media presence, or you might do with a lot with other people. But to me, it looks like you have a lot of people watching you and watching how you react or watching what you do. You might be saying goodbye to a lot of people as well at this time. People that are going to kind of fade into the background. People that are no longer, it's sort of like the equivalent of ghosting a lot of people all at once. It's like, if you get an offer of something, you might be like, I'm taking that offer. I'm going to take that with me. I'm going to pack my stuff, or I'm going to go over here. I'm going to do all this. And I'm not going to talk to any of these people anymore. I also feel, this is what I'm just going to say, this is what my guys are saying. You're going to know what your treasure is. And your treasure is not money. Your treasure is your creativity. Your treasure is your peace of mind. Your treasure is knowing what's right and wrong. Your treasure is knowing how to have fun, knowing how to take care of the planet, knowing how to take care of others, knowing that you are one of many on this planet. Looking out, doing the greater good, looking out for pets and looking out for kids and looking out for other people. I feel like you're going to do good things in this world. That's what I want to say. You're on track to doing good things. But I feel like you're leaving behind some things. You're leaving a lot behind. We have this world here. And the world to me is coming to a point where you're looking back, you're reflective. You're saying, this is where I've been and this is where I'm going. And you're noticing, like, it's sort of like me, like when I noticed I started to get a lot of gray hair. And I'm like, oh my God. Like, I'm like 100. I'm not, but you know what I'm saying? Like, it's one of those things where you start to really notice, okay, a certain amount of time has passed and you've done certain things. And you're like, okay, I'm good with those things. Like, what's my next challenge? What comes next for me? What's the next mountain to climb? What's the next, set of challenges and tests? And what's the next phase of your life? You might be going through like a you're moving on to a next phase of your life. You could be 25, and you're quarter, right? So, you could be turning, for some of you, you might be turning 30. For some of you, you might have turned 40. For some of you, you're hitting another milestone later, it could be like 60 or something. And like, again, you're looking at your life from this perspective of, okay, this is what I've done and this is what I want to do. I'm really inspired by this Instagram account. Her name is Jess, I think, Starwood. And she is going back to school to get, I think, her PhD. And I found that so fascinating because, it came from her, from her post and what she said. It came from her wanting to feel like she's like moving towards something. And you can't quote me here because this is not exactly how she put it, but it's basically what I got from it. I was like, she's moving, she wanted to move towards something. She wanted to feel like she was doing something. And I feel like some of you are going to be really examining what that is for you. Like really examining, okay, is the place that you're living where you want to be? Is what your career, what you want to do? Are you going to be wanting to go back to school for an advanced degree? Do you really, what is it that you want to commit to? What is it that you want to leave behind? But mainly I feel like you're like really examining it. Like, do you want to go back to school? Do you want to get a different kind of job altogether? Do you want to have a completely different career? Who are you in the world? Like all these questions. And like the world is also time. So like, 1 month time cycle. In 1 month's time, you're going to be these things are going to be really very much on your mind. Really looking at all factors of your life, like what's going on with your love life. Where are you in career? Do you want to be in the job that you're in? Do you want to have the partner that you have? You know what I mean? Like all these things are going to be up in the air. Do you, want to stay in touch with the friends that you have? Like, who are the people in your life that mean something to you? I feel like, 2022 and 2023 were very formulative years in the sense that setting us up for the 7 years of tribulation, which I believe is 2025 to 2032. And in some ways, setting us up, preparing us for. Either we're setting ourselves up for success or we're setting ourselves up for failure, meaning we're either going to become really, really strong and really, really like resilient and really, really smart. And we're going to overcome all of this shit that really is binding us. And we're going to really be like, okay, know what's important and know what we're doing and get kind of on track. Or we're going to be set up for what I would think of as not being successful, where we go through the period of 7 years and it's a very hard period of our life. And it's very hard for people to make it through that period. And it's again, this whole thing about the devil, the failure versus success. There might be people that are looking at you going, okay, have you been successful? What is your success? And the thing is, and you might have to be being like, what? My success is my business, meaning it's personal to you. Oh my gosh, I'm seeing the cutest manatee. Some of you might live in a place like some of you might live in Florida actually, or a place with a lot of water. I'm seeing manatees. Manatees are like one of my favorite like underwater creatures. There's such a sweet, soft spirit that's really soothing and nurturing and just like peaceful. Some of you might want to like adopt a manatee or do something sweet like that, it looks like a manatee. I definitely feel like your peace for some of you is going to come through your children. Either adopting children if you don't have biological children or biological children. I feel like some of you do have biological children, others have yet to have children, and I feel like when they do have children, it's going to be like it's almost going to be not like a party, but like a kind of joyous experience where there's a lot of joy with those children and a lot of joy that comes from having those children, and they're just full of life and full of joy, and they're going to bring a lot of happiness to you and abundance to you as well. I definitely feel like some of you might have, let's just say, like a blended family, but I also see 3 girls, and I also see like 2 boys, and I see like maybe 2 girls and a boy for some of you. But I also see up to 5 children as well. So you might end up having more children than you're expecting. I actually feel, this is going to sound so strange, I actually feel like for some of you who maybe don't have children yet, I feel like your children are going to, like, you're going to sleep so well. Like when you sleep, like in the beginning, like when they're young, you might not get any sleep very much at all. But like when they start to become older and they get into sleep cycle, I feel like they're going to bring you so much peace and like so much contentment that when you sleep, it's like you're going to sleep so well. Like you're going to sleep so peacefully. I feel like you might never have actually had this kind of sleep in your life where you felt so contented or so peaceful or so, like, I don't know, at peace with your life. I feel like children are a very important role for you. Whoever's watching, the kids are very important for you to have. Obviously that message is meant for, certain people, but I'm saying it anyways. I'm gonna look to see what other things can come through for the positive here. There's a lot of major arcana today, guys. And anytime major arcana comes up, we got the Hanged Man, we got the Lovers. I feel like this is all, the World, the Fool. I feel like many of you have mastered a lot of lessons and tests already. Like you've already gone through a lot. And so to me, this is sort of like figuring out how you want to implement the things that you've learned. So some of you may be teachers or go on to becoming teachers of some sort. I definitely feel teaching is going to be very important for many of you. I feel like you'd be really good teachers because you have like the bigger picture, like you can see the bigger picture and you're able to share that with whoever it is you're teaching. I feel like we have the Page of Swords, which is being assisted somehow, and we have the King of Pentacles. I also pulled the Tower, but I definitely feel like, I put it over here, and to me that is past energy. I don't necessarily feel like that's going to be current energy, but it could be in some regard. The Page of Swords is being lifted up out of hardship. The King of Pentacles is, we have this acorn here, going back to that oak tree, energy of blessings. Something could be coming through, blessings could be coming through a male or a father figure. I'm seeing as well, the father figure. I don't really even know what to make of the Tower today, actually. Because in some way, because it's a tribute to Matthew Perry, he passed away unexpectedly. So, I feel like there is some level of shock and some level of unexpected shock in the collective. I don't necessarily feel like this tower, it's modified by all these other cards. This tower might come as a shock, an unexpected shock, but I don't necessarily feel like it's the worst thing in the world. I feel like in some way, and this is going to sound strange, I feel like Matthew Perry was at a point in which he was ready to pass. He was ready to go. He had just completed his memoir. So like he had turned the corner and seen like all this perspective on his life. And I'm not saying he didn't have more to do. I felt like he did, but I feel like as a soul level, he was really ready at that time. And it's really odd because I think he was only 54. But when I looked at him, I felt like his energy was a lot older. I looked at him and he felt like he was either 60 or 70 years old. So like I was very surprised that he wasn't like in his 70s. Like I didn't know that when he passed. It's very fascinating. I see people like when I do readings, I see people, their age is not their age to me. Like when I look at them or read for them, their age is not their age. Age is really weird when it comes to my readings. So I could read for somebody who to me like feels like they're like 85, but they may be in their 50s, you know. I could read somebody who's like 20 or 30 years old, but they may feel like they're 60. So again, you know, everybody has a different kind of age vibe to me than their actual technical age. I'm gonna see if there's any last other points to make here. We have the breaking even, being smart. I did not shuffle, so sorry. I need to pull out these cards. Here we go. Some of you might get a fun birthday package. I call mail flow. I feel like mail flow is very important. Mail flow is where you're ordering things online and you have things coming in the mail. So it gives you something to look forward to. So every time you check your mailbox, there's a little something there that's exciting. You don't know. It's like Christmas, like every day. This is, you know, finding ways to save money, being smart about things, saving a ton of money and goodwill. You could be shopping, doing thrift shopping, or buying things at like discount stores. You know, when you do shop, you're being very careful about your money. That's one of the messages here. It's interesting. We have this getting organized card, which is about making things, you know, making lists of things that you've got to do. You know, I do believe, you know, there's something I did say in one of my other videos that WW3 is going to happen. Okay. I definitely feel that. Other psychics have felt that too. And I definitely feel like for those of you who are, you know, wanting to get organized and things, I think that this is a great time to do it. You got to watch out for your mood. I've actually, again, there's a lot of water, heavy water element. Saturn in Pisces is a heavy water element. Very, very heavy. Very, very challenging. Okay. You know, you might not be in the best mood. You know, you might not be really, really happy with your life. But you have to kind of work on it. Work on, you know, people do not think of food as medicine. They don't think of eating. What they eat affects their mood. What they eat affects their joy and their capacity to have peace in the world. Like people don't know what peace is because they're not thinking about food as medicine. They're just eating something out of a box or out of a can. Essentially, they're not really putting two and two together. I've had to talk to many people about how food can affect them. Okay. So like I talked to many people about how what you drink affects your bladder. Okay. There's a direct connection. And what you drink, what you eat affects your liver and your gallbladder. Direct connection. I also have talked to people many times before about blood sugar. What you eat affects your blood sugar. And things that can turn into like potato chips, potatoes, white rice, white bread, all that stuff turns quickly into blood sugar that can spike your blood sugar. So there's a direct correlation. You don't necessarily have to eat white sugar in order to have a blood sugar spike. And in fact, if you eat dairy, that spikes your blood sugar, which a lot of people didn't know. What else? There is a direct correlation too. Also, people who have had sinus problems or like headache problems, also direct correlation to their diet and to the foods that they eat. They don't understand how the food that they're eating affects their allergies, affects their diet. Allergies to cats, allergies to dogs, allergies to mold and pollen and all and to dust, all that stuff, can affect your health. And so to me, it's like people need to start to make correlations between what they're eating and what and how their body feels. Because I've talked to people before and like I've had these interesting conversations with people about how, how can their diet affect their sinuses? They just don't see how that could be. And so that's something for you guys to think on, actually. This is a great place to end, actually. There's a card here about doing the laundry, listen to classical music, complete a project, start a hobby, go for a dog. These are all, very basic things. And it's these things that keep us going when times get tough. It's these things that keep life happening. So some of you just need to kind of do some of the basics. And doing the basics will keep your life going and keep sort of a rhythm happening in your life. And therefore, you'll feel better about life. Every time I do laundry, I feel more grounded. I do. I listen to classical music and I feel like I have that's my time for my peace. So some of you really need to start to think about just doing some basics, cleaning up things or just keeping things going. And eventually you'll make it through time. You might find the most peace that you get at this time with this crazy in the world is doing your laundry. The most peace that you might get is listening to some classical music. The most peace and joy that you might have is literally doing something, your everyday thing where you're just doing your dishes or you're just doing your laundry, you're just taking your garbage out, you're just getting your mail, you're just, going for a jog. You're just kind of keeping going, and that is peace. In my opinion, that is peace. People don't tell you that, but that is peace right there. So, I think that's all that I'm going to say here for now. We've got a lot going on this table. I'm going to end this reading. Thank you guys so much for being amazing fans and followers. Again, this was dedicated to Matthew Perry, and hopefully I have given people a lot to think about and be inspired by. And I wish everybody the best. I send everybody big hugs, big kisses, and I'll talk to you guys again soon. Take care. Bye, guys.